My name is Marcus Timmons, aka Big Herc, 916. I'm originally from Sacramento, but I currently live in Los Angeles. Well, I'm a YouTuber. I've got a pretty colorful background. I did time in federal prison. I've been to juvenile hall. I've been to California Youth Authority. I had a few run-ins with the law. Growing up, I was a straight A student, 4.0.
Marcus Christopher Timmons. Melinda and Royce.
Skateboarder, BMXer, pretty decent background as far as upbringing. Just got involved with like the wrong elements, and once I seen the light and realized that the path I was on, I had programmed myself into that reality. I basically reprogrammed myself, man. I rehabilitated myself while I was in prison doing a 10-year sentence. And while I was in prison, I came up with a show concept called Freshout. And when I got out, I actually produced that show with a business partner, and never looked back, man. So I've been basically interviewing ex-felons who have made a success of their life and helping young people make better choices and showing that you can turn your life around if you've been to prison. You don't have to settle or be a loser or feel like you're an outcast of society.
What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down with Fresh Out, and I'm here in AZ. Me and Big Ant took a little trip to holler at the homie Chappie. We're doing a follow-up. This man has really put together some big things, man. I'm very proud of him. He inspires me, man, just seeing what he's done, and he invited us to come out here to his home. So Chappie, man, tell the people, man, so what's been up since the last time we chopped it up, man? I know you had a lot of big things in the mix, man, and your success, bro, is it's awe-inspiring, bro. I mean, this is really something to see somebody who's been out 5 years accomplish what you've accomplished, and you got people who have been out here their whole lives who have, had all the opportunity, but you took an opportunity and just, dude, you ran with it. You condensed a 5-year, span into somebody's career, bro.
Man, a lot's been up. A lot of stuff's been up. Biggest part of my life probably is the fact that in July I'll have 4 years sober now. So the longer that I continue to stay sober, the more big stuff that I can do in my life. I know what my weakness is and what can stop me from achieving my dreams, and that's if I'm not sober, and I know that if I'm sober, anything else I want in life's gonna fall into place, because I got the work, I put the hard work in, I got the drive.
The ultimate goal with Fresh Out is to expand our platform, get on a mainstream type of outlet, continue to help kids, work with programs with inner city youth, helping helping people who have been to prison, who are getting out, trying to better themselves, connect, building more entrepreneurial relationships with these people, and showing that just because you have this felony background, you don't have to be somebody who is relying upon the system, or you can't be self-sufficient. So, eventually just spreading a positive message, kind of contrary to what hip-hop is pushing. People always hit me up about a lot of different questions. I even had people in prison that would ask me things in regards to family relationships, life choices, different things, because I've always been an avid reader. I've always been somebody who's kind of thought outside the box, read a lot of spiritual stuff, and I've lived a life, man. I've done everything that a lot of people want to talk about, and I see a lot of people selling life coaching, and they haven't lived half the life I've lived. So I figure, why not use my life experience to help other people and positively impact those people? My current hustle, well, I got a bunch of different hustles. So I have Freshout. Through Freshout, I also have a clothing brand. We have Freshout clothing. We also have Freshout supplements. We have a protein powder, a pre-workout. We have a testosterone booster. Then I have consulting that I do on Freshout for people who are looking for advice. Then I have Big Herc 916, which is my mentoring, my life coaching, my clothing line. And then I also do custom car stuff where people consult with me, and I help them as far as doing accessorizing their car, maybe help them do performance builds and stuff like that.
Looking real sweet. So the last thing to do is do the molding on the car and have everything bonded. He's gonna do the bonding, and then I have to change this rubber out here. If anybody has any idea of how these rubbers are actually bonded to the window, please leave a comment, let me know, because I'm gonna switch all those rubbers out. So it's gonna be all new rubbers, and I have all new rubbers for like the doors and the rear hatch. So any input that you guys have, let me know. Would love to hear your comments on what you think of the car.
COVID-19, as far as affected my hustle, a lot of stuff what I do is online. So I get a lot of online business from people I talk to on the phone I've never met. So I can do a lot of that over the phone or via FaceTime. And then, I've also dabbled in some of the PPE stuff. So I'm making money off of what's going on. And I figure, why sit here and be frustrated? I might as well look at monetary opportunities. And that's what I've done with some other business partners of mine. A lot of our workout supplements and clothing at freshoutseries.com, and also on bigherc916.com. I have a lot of my clothing, a lot of my other services are available on that page. I watch a lot of entrepreneurial stuff on YouTube. That's pretty much all. I don't watch any prison stuff on YouTube. And I always look toward, to people that are outside the box as far as self-motivated, self-made, self-employed. And I try to imagine opportunities that are available that the average person doesn't see. And so through the hand sanitizer, I'm looking at the whole COVID-19 situation. So I've always been a self kind of made person where I have a lot of entrepreneurial skill sets, and so I never really look for a job. I always figure I create my own job, and that's what I've done. My mind always works like, what can I do that I can create. I figure I look at myself as a walking ATM. I have one book called Resistance Responsive Training that's on Amazon about working out. I got another book called Bedroom Gangster that I wrote in prison. It's an urban erotic novel. And then I also have a book about how I got into the porn industry. So that's another life, you know. I was in the porn industry before I robbed a bank. And I have a book called How to Get Down in the Porn Game, and it's also on Amazon. In prison, there's a lot of guys that write. And, you know, I've always been somebody who's read a lot of books, and I've always had a creative side. So during one of the first lockdowns we had, I just started writing, man. I said, you know what, I'm going to write a book. And so I just started writing, and the characters took a life of their own. And once I started writing, it kind of became addicting. But I've always been somebody who's written things. I mean, I wrote my first book, a workout manual, when I was 21. And, you know, it's just one of my passions. Once you start and get the first couple paragraphs on paper, it kind of takes on a life of its own. But, you know, I've always been, like I said, one of those people that do things differently. You know, when I watch a TV show, I think about the people that came up with the characters. You know, I think about how they came up with the scenery and the background. So I'm always looking at the creative process of anything I watch. When I was in prison, I used to see guys watching Cops, and I couldn't believe it, man. I'm like, I come back from the law library, and I see all these inmates watching Cops and these other shows, and I'm like, man, I need to come out with a show showing what happens when a person gets out of prison. And so I wrote down, you know, I had like probably a stack of journals that I wrote down all these different ideas. And when I got out, I just tried a bunch of different ones. But I ran into my business partner at the gym, and I told him about my idea, and he's like, man, I like it. So we basically, you know, we had no experience making movies. I had a neighbor, he was a camera guy. I said, hey man, would you like to film for us? I paid him to film, and he filmed our first episode with Cali Muscle. And then from there, we eventually learned how to do it ourselves, and now we have all the equipment, and my business partner does all the filming and editing, and I do all the interviewing. It's a two-man team, and then my wife helps out with some of this stuff as far as filming. Yeah, you got to get people who believe in your vision. Your circle's very small. You can't have everybody trying to dibble and dabble in your business. And, you know, a lot of people will say, hey, man, I'll help you, but they're essentially trying to steal your idea. So you can't really open your arms to everybody who acts like they have a good intention, because not everybody's intentions are good. So you got to cut off a lot of people, man. And like a lot of people, I don't really even talk to them, man, because it's like we're from two different planets. I feel I have a sense of urgency as far as the way I get down, where every day I got to make something happen. My mom used to make these good brownies. I was selling her brownies in third grade to my classmates. And then when skateboarding came popular, I used to sell skateboard wheels. I sold comic books, baseball cards, bike parts, you name it, man, T-shirts, drugs. I've sold everything. So I feel that, you know, I can hustle anything. I've sold natural gas partnerships to guys, you know, in a corporate level. So I can hustle at any level, and my mind is always working. So I've always been one of those type of people. I'm not afraid to be without employment as far as working for somebody, because I am employment. I remember I had a friend, and he was in YA with me, and this guy's dad drove a Ferrari Testarossa, and he was a black guy. And how many black guys do you see driving a Testarossa back in the day? You know, this was like in the early 90s. And I'm like, man, if a brother like that can be balling, it's like, man, I could be balling too. So it made me think that, you know, there's a bigger world out there than just hanging out on the block. I tell you, a lot of people, they'll take you down, bro. You know, and you got to know you got to be very aware of the people you share your ideas and your visions with, because I know people who have actually been robbed by their own homeboys they thought had their best interest, but because they didn't have the capabilities of thinking outside the box, rather than think long term, their mentality is short term. And short term is just the here and now. So everything I do with 5-year plans, 10-year plans. I'm thinking next generation. So if I can set up something right now, and I don't even have a kid, but if I know when I do, he's already set up. The most positive thing I can say is surround yourself around opportunities and people who have a vision. You don't realize how important your friends are, your conversations, and you want to watch what you say, man. The universe, you can speak into an existence whatever it is you want. If you talk enough about being a multimillionaire, a billionaire, you will bump into somebody, and it might not even be something you thought about, but it will change your life. I'm literally living it right now. So be careful on how you entertain yourself, even with casual conversation, because all these things operate on a energy frequency. And if you're on the wrong frequency, you'll miss your opportunities and you'll tie yourself into something that's holding you back. So be very clear on your path and recognize where you're going, and know that certain things aren't for you. And it can sometimes feel like you're alone, man, but you're not alone. Hey man, all my social media, Big Herc 916, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, also Freshout series as far as Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, freshoutseries.com, BigHerc916.com.